ठीक है, and just give me a second. Right. So let me know if you guys can see this VS Code and our to-do application that we have created so far. Visible? Tick. All right. ठीक है. So let me just run this to-do and start. ठीक है. Again, just yes. So yeah, I hope everything is visible now. VS Code alongside browser and all. Take. So you guys remember the last time we created our to-do, we were able to add to-do by input, priority we were adding, and we were able to basically add it in our table. Right? Any doubts or any problem you guys had till here? Anything? People? Yes, no, anything? अगर doubt है तो write yes. If you don't have any doubt, please write no. All right. ठीक है. So in to-do application, if we are at it, shouldn't we have an option to mark a to-do as completed or not completed? Yes. Yes. Does that make sense कि ऐसा कुछ functionality you should actually create? Right? Short revision. Okay. ठीक है. ठीक है. So I mean I hope you all remember कि access कैसे करते हैं elements को in HTML. In HTML, how do we access elements? I hope that's clear. Right. So accessing, what was that? We learned few more things, like we can access by ID, we can access by class name, we can access by our tag name, and we can access by query selector, right? So in query selector also, if you guys remember, there were two different types, right? So this query selector one, just the query selector, was it returning just one item or multiple? सिर्फ एक tag दे रहा था, right? And if we need to get multiple things, what we have to do is we have to just update this query selector with all, right? तो ये तो था हमारा access करना, कैसे we can access our DOM and all. ठीक. Now let's say if I want to create something from my DOM itself, how can I create stuff? Was there something that was called document dot create element? Right? And inside this, we were passing what element we want to create. So let's say I want to create a div. So I'll create a div. Take, and let's say I have gotten my body in let body equals to document dot get element query selector, and in this I'm selecting my body tag. Take. So if I do body dot append के अंदर, if I put, let's say I defined it as div equals to this. If I put this div inside it, am I not appending it to my body? Right? So it should be visible there. Take. So these were few things that we learned. Also, rather than directly attaching event to our tags, हमने क्या किया? We created a way in which we were able to attach events in our JS side. So how can we do that? Attaching event from our JS side. You guys remember what was the code? Add event listener, right? Add event listener. And inside this, we were passing two things. First, the event, it can be anything from click to change to submit and all. And after that, the function that we need to run. Right? Yahi tha. Then we talked about form also, right? So what was the event for form? Form के लिए event क्या था? What was the event for form? in here form के लिए what were we writing? Were we writing click? Were we writing select? What were we writing? Submit, right? So if we submit a form, we were doing basically we were accessing this function, and इसके अंदर we were accessing, let's say I'm writing handle form submit, right? So I was sending the event in this, right? And why do I need this event? ये event चाहिए ही क्यों मुझे? Why do I need to access this event? So that I can prevent the default behavior of form का event, right? Right? And how do we do that? We basically get it inside our handle form submit function, and we do a e.prevent default, right? So we were accessing that form event, or उस form event का default behavior we were preventing it from happening. Take any doubts still here? Any doubts, people? No? Then we were back at creating our to-do. So nothing here. To-do may we created our form, just may we had everything. Then in our index.js, we were just basically like accessing whatever stuff we have written. So if the form was getting submitted, we were basically running this function handle form submit. Take, and we have created a global array that we can access it in every function which we are creating. So be it handle form submit, be it any function, we should be able to access this thing, right? What handle form submit was doing, first thing first, it was preventing the default behavior, और उसके बाद we were accessing the data from our input boxes. So पहला वाला input and the select tag, right? In here we were accessing the value, we were giving those value a shape, and उस shape को हम लोग push कर रहे थे in our global array, right? So was this the way of storing data inside our array, or rather storing to-dos in our array? Remember guys? Yes, no, maybe, या फिर नहीं बताएंगे, कुछ भी लिखो. ठीक, यहाँ तक क्लियर था? यहाँ तक क्लियर था लाइन नंबर 23 तक what we were doing? ठीक, now creating the data was not enough, we needed to show the data somewhere, right? हमें अपने DOM पे वो डेटा दिखाना भी था. So what we did, हमने एक और फंक्शन लिखा जिसका नाम है handle append data, right? So it was this function. इस फंक्शन के अंदर what we did was we were basically mapping over that array or looping over that array, ठीक? And for each object iteration we were creating like few elements, like हमने table row बनाया, फिर उसके अंदर we were creating multiple table datas, and उसको हम लोग value दे रहे थे, we were giving or assigning the values to it. ठीक, Sheikh, for now you are not gonna upload an image अभी के लिए, because uploading a image is a bit tricky, क्योंकि image को you'll have to convert it into like 64-bit encoding or something. ठीक है, so for now what you will be submitting in form of image is image का URL. ठीक है, get the URL of image, उसको input में डालो and get that URL in form of string. ठीक, so एक छोटी सी चीज है, आई एम थिंकिंग ऑफ गेटिंग दिस थिंग फिक्स्ड, ठीक, एंड देन गिव यू गाइज अ ब्रीफ ओवरव्यू कि ई कॉम वेबसाइट्स कैसे काम करते हैं. ठीक, तो द लेक्चर माइट एक्सटेंड फॉर 15 to 20 minutes. दैट्स फाइन, राइट? Might not surely, but might. ठीक, so that like this should be the last lecture of DOM, so I'm trying to cover as much as possible. ठीक है, मतलब सिलेबस तो कवर हो ही जाएगा, सिलेबस वाज गोना गेट कवर्ड विद दिस टू डू इटसेल्फ, बट आई वांट टू शो यू कि हाउ ई कॉम एंड ऑल गोस. ठीक, तो दैट माइट टेक अ बिट एक्स्ट्रा टाइम. ठीक, चलो. सो नाउ व्हाट वी वर डूइंग इज वी वर बेसिकली क्रिएटिंग ऑल दैट स्टफ, और फाइनली वी वर अपेंडिंग देम, राइट? तो हमने क्या किया, फर्स्ट वी पिक्ड दिस टीआर एंड अपेंडेड ऑल टीडीज इनसाइड दिस टीआर, और finally took that tr जिसमें सब कुछ appended है and put it inside our table body. So we were basically attaching everything. ठीक, now we suffered a problem कि एक बार we were submitting something, we were submitting a to do with something, and if I was submitting it, एक और बार if was doing that, we were attaching last data also. How did we fix that? We were basically resetting our initial data. ठीक ठीक anyone any problem in this to do app till now? to do application में कोई दिक्कत अभी तक? No? ठीक है ठीक है. So let's try to fix this thing कि we should be able to mark this to do as done or not done, right? Completed or not completed. So let's see how we can go about that. We have created a key value pair which was called status with false like as default parameter, right? So we're going to use just that, usko ही use करेंगे. So let's do one thing. Let's create a button for here. Take so let btn equals to, or rather status button equals to document dot create element. And how do we create a button? By writing button inside it, right? So am I creating a button, people? From my JS side, JS की तरफ से am I creating a button? Right? Now if I show you guys, uh, if I add some to do, now we should get a button, right? But we are not. Why? कोई देख के बताएगा why we are not getting that button in DOM? Okay, correct. Ankita, correct. Anyone else? Okay, Abhijit, HTML. I'm hoping कि you are mentioning कि हमने HTML में उसको add नहीं किया. Have we appended this button? We have created that button. इस button को बनाया है, but have we appended it? No, right? So let's go and append that button. Button को क्या करते हैं? Let's append this button in td4. So td4 dot append, and इसमें we are appending the status button, right? And then finally we were appending td4. ठीक. तो now are we appending td4? बटन को अपेंड कर रहे हैं, राइट? बेसिकली समथिंग लाइक दिस इज हैपनिंग. सो वी आर क्रिएटिंग अ टीडी, और उस टीडी के अंदर हमने एक बटन बनाया, राइट? सो वी आर अपेंडिंग दिस बटन इनसाइड दिस टीडी, और ये टीडी td4 इज ऑलरेडी अपेंडेड टू अ tr. मेक सेंस? मेक सेंस, राइट? नाउ इफ वी गो एंड इफ वी ट्राई टू ऐड सम टू डू, if we try to add some to do, we are getting that button, right? But वो button में there is nothing written on it. Nothing written on it. Can we fix that? Right? How can we write inside a tag? Tag के अंदर कैसे लिखेंगे? Button dot inner text. Easy, 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 right? So wait, what's this? Let me just remove this. Let's go back here, and हमें क्या करना है? Status button dot inner text equals to, now here we can add a bit condition. Condition का मतलब, let's say if our element dot status, if it's true, then I want to put completed there, else I want to put not, or rather ongoing, right? So अगर मैं जाऊं and if I go and add some to do, what should I get? Should I get completed or ongoing? देख के बताओ. Just take a look at this. Given in keep this in mind कि we are putting status false by default. तो सारे to do में status false जा रहा है. So should I be printing completed or ongoing? Right? Is element dot status false? Yes. So should I go for this one or the latter one? Ongoing, right? So if I go and if I add a to do now, I'm gonna get ongoing in there. Take now to fix this, let's say if I'm clicking on this to do, this should get changed into what? Completed, right? But मान लो if we have other to do's there also, right? So let's say we have to do 3. So if I'm clicking on this ongoing and सारे के सारे complete हो जाएंगे, will that make sense? Or just this specific one? This specific one should get completed. Specific one, right? People, yes, no, anything, come on. समझ आ रहा है कि नहीं यार मैं क्या बोल क्या रहा हूँ? right? ठीक है? So if I go in here and if I do status button dot, I want to add a click event on it. So how do we add click event on something? Line number 54 पे, not line number 54. ठीक है, that's fine, that's all. ठीक है. So I have created a button on line number 53, right? Now can I append a event to that button? Right, right. So I'll add a event listener in here, and what will be that event? Click. और उस event पे I wanna run a function, right? और ये function I don't wanna do anything with it. All I wanna do is element dot status. I'm gonna check if this status is true or false. If this status is true, I want the element dot status to be equals to false, else element dot status to be equals to toggling. We have done this. Toggling. Why didn't we directly create button instead of add td4? ठीक है, अगर हम direct button बना देते and we were going to add it in our row, were we gonna get a nice little structure like this? Table के अंदर we are supposed to have td, right? Column के अंदर हम अपना button रखना चाहते हैं. That's why. ठीक. Else you could have directly put in button, but फिर UI में it would have look a bit messy. ठीक, हर्षित, clear है? Right? I was just trying to achieve this kind of thing. ठीक, क्योंकि बाकी चीजें they were all wrapped inside TD only. ठीक, that's why I created a button and I wrapped it inside TD. ठीक, चलो back to this. Now, if I'm gonna click on that button, am I gonna toggle the status? अगर status false है, I'm gonna make it true, और अगर वो true है, I'm gonna make it false. Yes, everyone? समझ आ रहा है लाइन नंबर 56 और नॉट? कितनों को नहीं समझ आ रहा है, प्लीज राइट 1 in chat if you're not getting it. And there are 55 people yet not getting it. ठीक है. चलो, सो इसको इरेज करते हैं. यहां तक समझ आया? वी वर क्रिएटिंग बटन एंड उस बटन में हमने कुछ इनर टेक्स्ट डाला. इतना क्लियर है? 1 0 एनीथिंग? इतना क्लियर है? ठीक. देन अगर मुझे इस बटन पे, मान लो मुझे लेट्स से आई एम एडिंग दिस बटन. लेट मी जस्ट क्विकली ऐड वन बटन. आई हैव दिस बटन, राइट? मैं कंसोल खोलता हूँ एंड इफ आई क्लिक ऑन दिस बटन ना, मुझे आई हैव टू प्रिंट console.log hello. सो डू आई हैव टू अटैच अ इवेंट टू दिस बटन? इस ऑनगोइंग बटन पे एक इवेंट अटैच करना पड़ेगा. यस. सो लेट्स ट्राई टू अटैच अ इवेंट टू इट. ठीक, तो मैं गया एंड मैंने इवेंट अटैच किया. लेट मी जस्ट रिमूव दिस थिंग फॉर मी. इस पे ध्यान मत दो. लाइन नंबर 56 इज नॉट देयर. ठीक. एम आई अटैचिंग अ इवेंट टू स्टेटस बटन? दिस थिंग जो हमने बटन अभी बनाया, उस पे मैंने ऐड इवेंट लिसनर और क्लिक के बाद मैं एक फंक्शन लिखने वाला. ठीक. इस फंक्शन में मैं कुछ नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मैं कर रहा हूँ console.log hello world. इतना समझ आता है? क्या होगा अब? क्या होगा? क्या होने वाला है बताओ? इफ आई गो एंड इफ आई क्लिक ऑन द बटन, अगर मैं जाके बटन पे दबाता हूँ, राइट? सो शुड आई बी प्रिंटिंग हेलो वर्ल्ड? एम आई प्रिंटिंग हेलो वर्ल्ड? राइट. और टू बी मोर स्पेसिफिक, हम लोग हर एक ऑब्जेक्ट के लिए वो फॉर ईच चला रहे हैं, राइट? तो हर एक ऑब्जेक्ट में वो बटन आने वाला है. एवरी ऑब्जेक्ट इज गोना गेट दैट बटन, राइट? सो वॉच दिस. इफ आई गो इन हियर एंड इफ आई प्रिंट एलिमेंट डॉट टू डू का नाम एलिमेंट डॉट टू डू, राइट? वॉच व्हाट हैपेंस. इफ आई गो एंड इफ आई राइट टू डू 1, इसको मैं कुछ प्रायोरिटी दे देता हूँ एंड लेट मी ऐड दैट. लेट मी ऐड टू डू 2 and here if I click on this, I'm printing hello world 2 do 2. If I'm clicking on this, I'm printing hello world 2 do 1, right? So वो specific button is referring to a specific object. ठीक, इतना clear हुआ how we are printing console and all? ठीक. So inside this function what I was doing is I was toggling it. toggle करने का मतलब पता है, राइट? फर्स्ट डे पे बात की थी हमने कि इफ वी हैव सम वेरिएबल जो कि ट्रू है, आई एम गोना कन्वर्ट इट इनटू फॉल्स, राइट? सो एम आई नॉट डूइंग दैट हियर? मैं चेक कर रहा हूँ. I have used this way. Let me just I think this thing confuses you guys. If element dot status अगर ये true है then only it's gonna enter this, right? So यहाँ पे मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ, I'm picking element dot status and I'm making it false, right? So am I not creating a switch effect? मतलब if I'm clicking on true, I'm turning it into false, right? And अगर else में जाके if I write ele dot status or element dot status true, तो अगर if this thing is false, I'm turning it into true, and if this thing is true, I'm turning it into false. इतना clear है toggle कैसे कर रहे हैं हम लोग? everyone किसी को भी कोई डाउट? ठीक. ऑल्दो वी आर टॉगलिंग, बट क्या हम इसको अपडेट कर रहे हैं स्टेटस डॉट इनर एचटीएमएल को? नहीं. सो इफ आई गो एंड इफ आई गो बैक, यहाँ पे हाई पे क्लिक करता हूँ एंड इफ आई क्लिक ऑन इट, नो, ऑल्दो आई एम टॉगलिंग इट बट मैं कुछ प्रिंट नहीं कर रहा हूँ. लेट मी शो यू. इफ आई कंसोल डॉट लॉग एलिमेंट डॉट स्टेटस में ध्यान देना, if I go back and click on to do and high, if I'm clicking on it, अभी true print कर रहा हूँ, then in next click I'm gonna print false, then in next click true false true false true false, वो तो ठीक है, but I should be updating the inner text also, right? कोई fix है इसका? Maybe we can think of a fix. Should I just copy this line and एक बार इसके बाद भी paste कर दूँ, so that we are updating it with the new inner HTML? What do you guys think? Makes sense, right? So let me just pick that line up and उसको यहाँ पे मैंने paste कर दिया. Status button dot inner HTML, please update it with the new status. So if we go back and if I click on to do, hi, add to do, let me add few more to dos and let's keep it medium and add to do, and let's add one more. This will be low, add to do. If I'm done with this to do, I'm gonna click on completed, right? So it's getting changed to completed and everything else is as it is. फिर मान लो if this is completed, so this will be done, right? CSS is getting a bit off, कोई नहीं, we can fix CSS. ठीक, but CSS we haven't given padding to that. ठीक, so CSS is fine. You guys are master of CSS. That's not an issue. ठीक है, क्लियर है कि हाउ वी कैन डू दैट पीपल? टॉगल कैसे कर सकते हैं बटन को दबाने पे? एनी डाउट्स इन दिस? राइट. So मान लो if I have completed this two and these are ongoing, will it make more sense if I have ability to delete these two? ये दोनों to do को अगर delete कर सके तो, right? Shall we try adding one more button to it? Delete button. Add करें? Yes, Rahul. Yes. So you can create checkbox like texture by doing that itself. ठीक है. So let's go and try to delete something. So let's create one more. Let td5 equals to document dot create element, and इसको let's create one more td. Then let delete button equals to document dot create element, and this will be button, right? And do we need to attach event listener ताकि we should be able to click on that delete button, right? So I'm gonna attach a event listener, add event listener, and in this I'm gonna write a click. I'm gonna call a function, but this time हम delete functionality will be writing it outside, ठीक है? So that the code is separate. You see we created a mess in here, इतना सारा code एक जगह लिख के, right? So let's try to keep everything neat and clean. तो यहाँ पे क्या करते हैं? Let's call a function handle delete click, right? And out here यहाँ पे एक function बनाते हैं handle delete click, ठीक? And in here I'll just console dot log handle deleting, right? ठीक है, again I should append this, right? Append this button. So button gets appended to td5, right? td5 dot append delete button. So should this append to html कि अभी भी कुछ problem है? If I'm not writing line number 54, if you're not writing line number 54 ना, तो जब वो first time load करेगा, it's not gonna have anything to write inside it. ठीक, first time जब load करेगा, we need to fix that also. समझ रहे हो what I'm telling? जब DOM में वो पहली पहली बार आएगा ना, it won't have anything inside its inner text. ठीक है, so should I add this td5 to tr? टेबल रो में एक और कॉलम ऐड करूं, right? So I should be, let's add it. ठीक, now let's go back and let's try to add few to dos. ठीक है, so add to do, we have this button, let's add inner html to it. So delete button dot inner text or html, both works. Let's just add delete, right? Let's go back and okay, so I'm adding this, let's add one more and let's add take. Now if I click on this delete button, I'm not running anything. All right, let's see why. So okay, I have added the event listener to delete button. I have written click, but have I called this handle delete click? No, right? Yes, Abhijit, you can, but फिर क्या होगा? You won't be able to create it for all the to do, right? Right? The problem is that we need to make it dynamic. तभी JavaScript यूज कर रहे हैं, तभी हम लोग इतना सब कुछ कर रहे हैं. To make this website dynamic, right? हम कुछ इसको input दे रहे हैं and it's creating a accountable output. ठीक? So let's say if I'm doing this, so I should be getting my custom made product. ठीक है, which is getting updated, उसका serial number is getting taken care of, this thing is getting taken care of. If I'm clicking on delete, I should be deleting, right? So that function is running. ठीक, but delete functionality के लिए should we not be able to access that specific element? वो specific element को catch करना पड़ेगा, right? That's why you guys will notice कि जब भी you get a hold of some JSON data ना, वो JSON data has something always which is called ID. एक ID is gonna be there always. All right, and this ID should be unique for each object. So I actually like created a JSON data for you guys, but this was not working. I'll just fix this क्योंकि इसके कुछ URL work नहीं कर रहे थे. But this is how a JSON data looks, right? So you're gonna have a ID for sure in that data. It's just there to be able to uniquely identify that specific object. Take. So we haven't given any ID to this. Shall we give it? So let's do one thing. We have to give a random ID. So anything works. Let's go for math.random, right? So math.random, this is gonna give us a number. I'm just gonna pick this and इसको convert कर दूंगा to string, right? Now I should be getting a unique ID for each object. ठीक है, कुछ नहीं गया यहाँ पे. There is an inbuilt function called math.random. It generates random number between 0 से लेके 1. ठीक, and I'm taking that 0 से लेके 1 का कोई number and I'm converting into string. That's all what I'm doing. ठीक, so let's do one thing. यहाँ पे जाते हैं and in this let's pass ele.id, right? Now we have IDs also. ठीक, and let me access that ID in handle click and एक बार print करके दिखाता हूँ what am I getting in that ID, right? So ID. Let's go back and let's try to add a few more things. So let's add this. Let's keep on adding. So हमने same we added same input and same status, but you'll see कि the IDs are unique for each and every element. So इसके लिए this is some ID. Then if I click on this one, this is gonna have some other unique ID. If I'm clicking on this is gonna have something else. ठीक. तो now if I'm clicking on this delete button, can I uniquely identify कि this sixth one was clicked? Yes. अच्छा, ID is making sense or not, people? Come on, यार बताना पड़ेगा ना कि if you're getting it or not. Making sense? Why do we need ID? ठीक. So why haven't anyone told me just go for index, man? इतनी मेहनत क्यों कर रहे हो? इंडेक्स भी तो सबके लिए यूनिक है. Why hasn't anyone thought of it? अच्छा, now that I've pointed it, किसी को सोच में आ रहा है कि इंडेक्स मे बी anyone anyone index was unique for each element. ठीक. So I mean, if you guys didn't noticed it, बाद में notice करोगे, then that's gonna create problems. उससे बढ़िया let's address it here itself. So let's say I have this ID, right? ID name, let's have this index, right? So I have the specific index, and then in other section I have this specific ID, right? And IDs can be anything. It can be combination of like strings and all. Let's say I have this type of ID, one L1 and one U1, not V1, right? So I have this set of IDs and I have this set of index. Let's say I am removing this particular index. इसको मैं remove कर रहा हूँ. So what happens with index? No, if you remove this index, everything will jump back one position. ठीक है? So अभी क्या होगा? If you remove this third element, no, you're gonna get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? But index will jump one places. तो क्या हो रहा है? Is the index unique anymore? If elements are gonna jump places? No. But if you remove this specific ID, do you think there is any jumping is gonna happen? Because this is not index. It's just a unique address given to each and every object. Right? So that does not happens there. और ये jumping कैसे कराएंगे? You guys are gonna tell me. आप लोग बताओगे. Let's say I have a array. Let array equals to A1, B2, C3 and D4, right? I want let me name it dummy array, right? I want to remove this B. इस B को छोड़ के I want this entire array except for this B. How can I do this? If we use ID, still the object gets deleted. So why index move forward? एक second बता दो संतोष. Just answer this thing. Let's say I want to delete this B. Then how can I do that? If array 1 continue, all right. ठीक है. अच्छा, I'm gonna write a solution and tell me if I'm correct or not. Return element dot B not equals to B not equals to 2. What do you guys think? If I console.log fin array, what am I gonna get? Go and see. So I'm getting an array of 3. Is there any B inside this array? No. Why? Am I using a higher order function which is gonna filter that B out? Thick. So let me print the pre-filter and after filtered array. ठीक है. So let's go back and rather नया array बनाने के बजाय let me just take this array and reassign this array a value. ठीक है. Let's go back and let's see. So you'll see कि fin array भी print कर रहा हूँ. Rather than doing that, let me print dummy array. ठीक है, चलो back here. Initially I had this array जिसके 0th index पे we had A1, first index पे we had B2, second index पे we had C3 and third index पे we had D2. What we did was we applied filter and we removed this first element. Do you think the index is gonna go away 0, 2, 3, or is it getting in like sequential manner still? Sequential manner में है, but I have given a key value pair. Is that getting changed or is that still unique? Still unique hai, right? So what makes more sense, ID or indexes? ID. सबको clear है? Everyone getting this concept, because this thing is gonna stick with you for as long as you are doing front end development. ठीक है, ये तो सब बता देते हैं कि ID we have to use because IDs are unique, but why do you need ID rather than index? This is the reason. ठीक, चलो. So let's go back and we did a fix. एक छोटा सा fix किया, वो था we were using this type of ID, but trust me, development में this sort of things are not used. ठीक, there are certain extensions, जैसे Chrome में extensions होते हैं ना, we have those type of things in our project also. अभी के लिए you don't need to know about all that, but we have some extensions which generate nice unique IDs for us. ठीक, for now this is what can I say, एक मतलब एक तरीका बनाया है, right, to get random unique IDs. Clear? ठीक. So now in line number 73, जब हम when we are calling this delete click function, we are passing our ID inside that. So I'm printing that specific ID, right? So we have an array, right? And we want to remove a specific ID from it. Do you guys think or can think of any way that we can apply that delete functionality? Anyone? Anything? Filter? Filter कर दे? Shall we filter the original array? This array जिसमें फिलहाल if I do click and I'm gonna add to do 1, to do 2 and all, अगर मैं filter कर दूं, in here will I be deleting that specific element? Yes, so let's try to filter it. So I'm gonna do array equals to array dot filter, right? Inside this, I'm gonna write function element comma I, although we are not gonna need that I, and I'll return if our element dot ID is not equals to ID. I want everything aside from this thing in my array. Right? So are we updating the array? Array update कर रहे हैं? Everyone? How many of us are not getting line number 90? Why did we wrote it? या फिर क्या हुआ है उस लाइन में? Anyone? Guys, come on. सबको समझ आ गया? Okay. 91 में you remember filter में क्या करते थे? If we are writing a higher order function called array.filter, if we return that element.id, यहाँ पे condition लिखते थे कि we want everything except या फिर including this. अगर हमने not लगाया ना, that means कि except this. If this was equals to, तो I was telling कि including this id सारी चीजें लो. Remember higher order function? याद है? But how you're getting id as parameters? Okay. Okay. Anyone else with this doubt? How am I getting that id as parameter? All right. ठीक है. कहाँ पे कॉल किया हमने फंक्शन? In line number 73. Add event listener. Click. And then what am I passing inside this? What am I passing as an argument? element dot id, right? So I'm just getting those specific element, हर एक element, and I'm accessing जिस तरीके से I'm accessing element dot to do priority, उसी तरीके से I'm just accessing that id and I'm sending it in my function. ठीक, that's why function सिखाते हैं. ठीक है, you see how versatile and flexible this thing is. Right? Clear? Any other doubts, guys? Come on. If you have, please get it cleared. ठीक, आज टू डू ही करेंगे, चलेगा मेरे को. We'll just release a recording for you guys, but at least get everything clear. यहाँ तक clear है? I need yes or no. If I filter ID and index, will it work? Filter ID मतलब you are I am filtering ID. अच्छा वो सब छोड़, वो सब छोड़. Filter में और किसी को दिक्कत है? Anyone else? Guys, if you have, I'm gonna create an example and show you guys. If you have any doubts. नहीं है? ठीक है. So can you be more specific, हर्षित? किस चीज में डाउट है? देखो, if you think you can pass the index, if that will work, yes, for this case, to do के केस में that will work. ठीक, to do के केस में it will work, but later it's gonna create complications जब आप डील करोगे बड़े डेटाबेस के साथ. ठीक, तो it's good, and whenever I teach, I keep this as a practice कि आप starting से ही you create a habit of using IDs when you're dealing with that. ठीक, you can, yes, you can pass index, that will work for this case, but keep a habit of passing ID. ठीक, okay. Can't find the difference deleting using index and ID. Can you, okay, ठीक है. So let's do one thing. Let me pass ID and let me pass index too. ठीक. So I'm gonna get ID and then I'm gonna get index, right? So let's do one thing. अभी क्या करते हैं? We have this array. अच्छा चलो यहीं पे समझाता हूँ. ठीक है. So just think about these A and B and C and D as IDs, right? So let me give them all same property. ठीक, rather let me give them ID. ठीक, so I'm giving them keys as ID, right? ठीक, and then I'm printing this array, right? Now in line number 123, what I'm doing is I'm filtering out this ID, right? So after this, should I get this array? Like I'm gonna get entire array except for my ID 2. Yes, no, anything? Am I gonna get this array? This array? Right? Santosh, itna clear hai? Is this part clear at least? What is happening here? That's all. I'm not asking कि index और उसके बीच में difference clear. Right? Now, modify return, modify as in what? Like if you want to delete something, this is the way you do it. How do you want me to modify it? You can write a return statement. I'll just modify it that way. Like, अच्छा ठीक है, एक बात बताओ. If I do element equals to 2, what am I gonna get? Am I gonna get this or am I gonna get this? Line number 126 or 127? 127, right? Element dot B, we gave key ID, right? Element dot B. Yeah. This is gonna be ID now. Correct. Take. So now in here, this first element has index of 0. The second element has index of 1. Third element 2. And fourth element 3. Take. Now, what will be the index of this new array? Is it gonna be 0, 2, and 3? No, it's gonna be 0, 1, and 2. So am I not assigning the same index to this thing? Right? But isn't the ID still unique even after deleting that stuff? Right? So that's the difference. यहाँ पे नहीं समझ आएगा. Let's say if you want to store history of something, right? So if you delete this thing, that history is gone. Right? You won't be able to find out कि कौन सा index delete हुआ था. Right? If I hide this array and if I just show you this array, will you be able to tell me कि which element did I removed from this array? I'm just telling you कि initial array was length 4, the second array is length 3. Tell me what element have I removed? नहीं बता पाओगे, right? But if you know the IDs, we can tell that. अभी के लिए, of course, it's not gonna matter. But again, it comes to habit. राइट बचपन से अगर सब स्पून से खाना सिखाएंगे तो यूर गोना ईट विद स्पून ओनली राइट वहीं अगर हाथ से खाना खाना सिखाएंगे तो यू ईट विद हैंड्स इटसेल्फ यस राहुल करेक्ट डिलीट करने पे इंडेक्स इज गोना टेक प्लेस देन इंडेक्स कैन वर्क यस हर्षित समथिंग लाइक दैट बट एक हैबिट रहनी चाहिए कि you can create your own index, right? That's the option always. You see, I just created my own index. है ना? So that's always an option. ठीक है गाइस इज इट क्लियर व्हाई आई नीड आईडी एंड ऑल इतना क्लियर हो गया किसी को और कोई डाउट है इफ यू डिलीट यूजिंग आईडी देयर इन द बिलो इंडेक्स विल मूव राइट आई मीन वेयर कैन वी नो हिस्ट्री you will know कि which id is removed right let's say if I pick this array and if I pick this array and if I run a for loop to check which element is not present in this array how will you find it will you be using id or will you be using index I'm telling you to compare this array and this array. Got it? ठीक है चलो so clear है यहाँ तक सबको everyone right तो watch this if I console.log this new array right if I go back let me add to do one and let me give it priority high add to do 2 add to do 3 add to do take now if I click on this delete should I be just deleting this 2 do 3 right? So if I click on this delete, I'm gonna get an array. Let's see, this array is of length 2, that's fine. Am I deleting that to do? So to do 1 is there and to do 2 is there, but to do 3 is not there, right? But JS mein to that is happening, but it's not happening in our UI. Why? Are we updating the UI after we have updated the array? No, right? And where are we updating the UI? In this function, handle append data, right? From first line, are we not updating the UI? हम clear कर रहे हैं and then we are mapping for each array, right? So if I call this handle append data after I have updated the array, do you guys think I'm gonna create new like DOM with updated data? Let's see. Let's see. So to do 1, I add to do 2 and to do 3 and to do 4. And if I click on delete to do 2, I'm gonna delete this specific to do. To do 2 is gone, right? If I click delete on to do 3, to do 3 is gone. To do 1 and 4 are still there, right? Right. So that's how we create delete functionality. Clear everyone? How we deleted and everything? Any doubts till now in anything? Please let me know. क्योंकि इसके बाद विल स्टार्ट वन मोर न्यू टॉपिक विच विल बी कॉल्ड लोकल स्टोरेज. Guys, any doubts to anyone? Delete have no heading. हाँ, तो you can go and add it, right? Heading तो हमने HTML में ऐड किया था, तो we can just go and add a th और इस पे लिख देते हैं delete button. That's all. That's all. Take multi-dimensional array. You are gonna learn that in your DSA. अभी के लिए you don't wanna know it. If I add search functionality, how can I add search functionality? बाद में करते हैं, अभी पहले basic DOM सीख ले, है ना? If I want to pop up a message of undo के लिए I mean you guys can try it yourself, but for undo no, you'll have to store this array somewhere, original array, before deleting it. ठीक है? And then you're gonna do that what I told you. Original array से compare करो this array and update it with original array. ठीक है? You can try it. If you want to undo no, before updating this you'll have to like save this original array in some variable. ठीक? Right? Any doubts in these few things that we have done? We have just added a delete and toggle functionality. No doubts? ठीक है, ठीक है. So we have almost created end-to-end a viable working product. Take, and if I'm adding something, and if I'm trying to delete something, I'm deleting those specifically. I'm able to change the status and all. But there is one thing that is causing issue. Yes, Vishya. Yes, original array will work as new after that. If you're clicking on that button, original array को set कर दो as a new array. ठीक. The issue is that if I refresh it, the data is gone. Data is not there at all. And one more thing quickly here itself. यहाँ तक जो cover हुआ है ना, till this filter का delete functionality, in your evaluation you're gonna like you might get a feature or two from this also. ठीक. And the local functionality and all that won't come in your evaluation. ठीक. So जितना last lecture तक cover हुआ था, like stuff like this creating and appending, और उसके बाद this delete functionality, you should be aware about these stuffs. ठीक है? इसके बाद whatever I'm covering, that's not gonna come in your evaluation. So FYI. Clear है? Till DOM 2, yes, and this functionality, delete functionality. So you don't want to miss delete. ठीक है? चलो. So what's the issue is that if I refresh this data, it's gone. Should it go away up until I have deleted each and everything? Is that how a normal product should have worked? Up until I have deleted each and everything, it should not get resetted. Right? Right? So for that, we'll need to learn one more new topic, which is called local storage. ठीक है? So do one thing, have a break of 4 minutes, get back, and we'll start with local storage. All right? ठीक है, everyone back at 9:04. everyone back? Everyone back? Right? Line number 94, we're calling function and अभी के लिए don't call it anything. ठीक है? Just keep it in mind कि we are deleting something and then we need to redo this entire thing. ठीक है? So for redoing, we just need to call this function एक बार फिर से. ठीक? So I'm not gonna say new terms and confuse you guys as you are already confused, as it seems. ठीक है? चलो. एनीवेज कंफ्यूजन में ही एटलीस्ट दिस टू डू इज क्लियर. जितना भी किया है, जो भी किया है अभी तक, कोई दिक्कत, कोई परेशानी, कोई कष्ट किसी को भी? ठीक. टेक्निकली यस हर्षित, आपके लिए. राइट. ठीक है. चलो. So what was the issue we were facing is that when we are adding a to do and when we were refreshing it, everything was getting deleted. Right? We want that to persist. हम अपने डेटा को persist कराना चाहते हैं. Now, how do we do that? Let me create create a folder in here. Local storage, and in this, let me create one more index.html, and this is irrespective of outside. यहाँ पे storage and let's go live real quick. Okay, so we are in here now. There is a storage system provided by browsers, right? So you might have noticed that most of the browser run on Node.js ka terminal itself, right? So if this is Microsoft Edge, I used to do everything on Chrome. वहाँ पे you saw कि we were able to run JS का code. In here also we can just go and simply print JS का code, right? So these all things are gonna run almost similar, right? Most browser. So these browser provide a storage facility inside our your application section. Take. So if you go up here and if you click on application, no, you will see this option. ये storage का option दिखेगा. And under that storage, you will see that there are few things like local storage, session storage, index DB, the web SQL and all. For now, these all are not for our case. अभी के लिए हमें ध्यान देना है on something which is called local storage. Right? Right? And let me clear it for now. So if I refresh it, there is nothing inside this local storage for me. Take, but can you guys see what type of data is it storing? Key and value pair again. Object. Take. So what and how we can access this local storage is, let me create a script file in here. यहीं पे कर लेते हैं सब कुछ. So do I need a style? I don't think so. Okay. So all you have to do is you have to, I mean, first local storage के बारे में quickly. So now this local storage, no, this is there to hold your like data for current session. जैसे मतलब if you are opening this website for current session, it's gonna hold few data which you want to store in them. ठीक है. So let's try to save some data on our local storage real quick. So it's easy. All you have to do is you have to write local storage dot. If you want to store data, you will write set item, and then basically you will write that e value का pair, right? So this is syntax. Let's write in actual code. What you do is local storage dot set item, and इसके अंदर you're gonna write a key. So let's say key is test, and the value is right. So if I go in here and if I you see I have added a key test and a value help, right? Data will store in object format or JSON. This format is gonna be JSON only. ठीक. So ये जो hello store हो रहा है ना, this is being stored in JSON format itself. ठीक है, बट द रिप्रेजेंटेशन इज लाइक की वैल्यू पेयर। ठीक, इट्स जस्ट फॉर इजी बनाने के लिए। सो यू वांट टू स्टोर विद अ नेम ऑफ की एंड द वैल्यू इज देयर, बट जो वैल्यू होती है ना, दैट वैल्यू इज गोना बी स्टोर्ड एट एज जेसन। ठीक, all right. So whenever you want to store something in JSON na, be it anything, that thing gets converted into a string. ठीक है, so let's say you have an object a and b, a b a and b इसके अंदर है, and if you want to store this in JSON format ना, क्या होता है, this thing get computes or converted into a string. ठीक, so this is there, just gonna leave it there for just one thing. इसका ध्यान रखना कि that value, ये object is gonna convert it into a string. Let's see how we can actually access that local storage का जो भी item we have setted. So if I do let value equals to local storage dot, जिस तरीके से if you want to send data to local storage you write set item, if you want to receive data from local storage you write get item. एंड देन जो भी आपने की के नाम से सेव किया था, यू जस्ट गोना एक्सेस दैट, सो यू गोना राइट टेस्ट, एंड इफ आई डू console.log value, if I go again and if I refresh it and if I go in my console, you see I'm printing that value. ठीक है, ठीक है, so is it clear कि how I can set something in my local storage and how I can get something from it? ठीक, अब नाउ व्हाई डू वी नीड इट, एक चीज पे ध्यान देना, आई विल क्लिक ऑन दिस रिफ्रेश बटन। ठीक है, एनीथिंग हैपनिंग टू दिस थिंग, आई एम क्लिकिंग ऑन रिफ्रेश बटन, आई एम क्लिकिंग ऑन रिफ्रेश बटन, वो डेटा वहीं पे है, वहीं पे है। सो इज दिस थिंग हैज अ पॉसिबिलिटी टू फिक्स आवर टू डू ऐप? if somehow we are able to save this array inside that local storage, and जब भी when we are clicking on our like append data या फिर maybe delete data, if we are able to again access this data, are we not gonna store that data even after refreshing? Somehow if we are able to place this array inside our local storage, right? We'll see how we can do that. So there's one more thing you guys should know, key you can even delete these key value pair. How you can do that, all you have to do is you have to write local storage dot remove item, right? And बस वो key का नाम लिख दो. So if I go back and if I see that key value pair is gone. ठीक है, so these three functions is all that you have to know for dealing with local storage. क्लियर है क्या क्या हो रहा है इन लोकल स्टोरेज? जस्ट थ्री डिफरेंट फंक्शंस, छोटे छोटे। इफ यू हैव टू सेंड डेटा टू लोकल स्टोरेज, क्या करते हैं हम लोग? गेट आइटम की सेट आइटम। इफ यू हैव टू सेंड डेटा टू लोकल स्टोरेज, set item, and if we have to receive data from local storage, get item, and if have to delete item from local storage, remove item. Easy है, easy है। now ये तो string के लिए हो गया, let's try to store an array inside it, right? So let's do local storage dot set item and test array, and this thing is gonna store an array. So 1 2 3 4 and 5, right? Now if I go back, am I storing that array? Am I storing that array? Right? Let me remove that ये वाला line, remove item हटा देता हूँ. So now we'll store both of them. ठीक है? So we are storing hello and we are storing that array. Now let's see if I do a get item, right? So let value array equals to local storage dot get item. How can I get the array? How can I get the array? Should I write test या फिर test array? Test array, test array, right? Right? And let's go and print our value array, right? ठीक है, so let's go and print it. So here you go. Am I printing that array? But this array is looking something different. कुछ अलग है इस array में. वो क्या है? this thing is happening. We are taking an original object, be it array, be it object, and we are converting it into a string. So if I do a type of this value array na, वो array नहीं आएगा, rather than it's gonna come as a string. Is this thing an issue? ये issue है, right? Because we are converting a mutable data type into a immutable data type. हम अपना काम मुश्किल कर रहे हैं, right? So should we fix it? And the fix is also very easy. Very easy. All we have to do is, जब आप उसको store कर रहे हो ना, you have to just store this thing in stringified manner. ठीक? So all you have to do is, you have to take this thing inside a bracket, and that thing is gonna go as json.stringify. And उसके अंदर stringify के अंदर you're gonna put your array. All right? तो ये चीज जो है ना, it's going as a array only. ठीक है? Let me show you. Let me show you. So if I go and if I click in here, is the format changed? Format change हो गया जिस तरीके से store कर रहा था. Now is it storing it as an array? Right? But console में we are still getting string. Why? Because although we are storing it as an array, we are not exactly receiving it as array. तो रिसीव करने के लिए all you have to do is you have to write json.parse and फिर पूरे जो भी हमने रिसीव का कोड लिखा है ना, just put that all inside this parse का function. Right? Now if I go back, I'm gonna get object only. Take, and if I print that object, let me do this once, and value. Right, so I have object and I'm printing that array. Take, so even though I'm gonna refresh it however many times, this thing is still gonna be there. ठीक, and take my word, browser बंद भी कर दूंगा ना, तब भी ये डेटा स्टोर होगा जब तक मैं इसको चेंज नहीं करता. ठीक, but do you guys think कि if I go to a different web page, should this data still be there? Because even big websites like Flipkart, Amazon is using this storage. So will this create a security concern अगर हम दूसरे वेबसाइट्स पे भी पिछले वेबसाइट का डेटा देख पा रहे हैं तो? Right? So if I go on this website, no, and if I go and check इसका console और इसका application, तो I mean for now हम इसको local storage पे ही run कर रहे हैं. Let me open a website, let's say Flipkart. ठीक, so if I go and check इसका local storage, Flipkart का, do we have our data in this Flipkart? हमारा कोई भी डेटा है टेस्ट या फिर टेस्ट एरे? No, right? So if you are running it on same port, तो हमारा link is almost same. That's why it was saying कि ये है. But anyways, that thing is not accessible in other websites. ठीक, and even you see this Flipkart is also storing some data like is logged in, तो false है. Why? Because I'm not logged in. एक बार मैं इसमें log in करूंगा ना, तो this thing is gonna get converted into true. ठीक है? ठीक है, चलो, तो back to our document. Now you guys tell me, this is key value pair, so key should be unique or not? Unique. So what do you guys think if I go and do local storage dot set item and इसके अंदर I'm writing test array only and I'm doing comma json dot stringify and इसके अंदर I'm putting object a1 and b2. Should I be storing two test array different and with different values, or should I update it जैसे हम object में करते थे? Overwrite everyone, right? तो अगर मैं जाऊं, you'll see कि it's getting overwritten with whatever is written later. ठीक है? Also we don't do it like this. ये थोड़ा clumsy दिखता है. You have to create a variable, let obj equals to this and just write that obj inside this. ठीक, बस इतना सा ही होता है लोकल स्टोरेज और कोई अलग से कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं होता है. Is it tough or is it easy? Local storage. It's simple, easy, ठीक। तो ये दो चीज में काम आने वाला है। एक चीज जो होगी वो होगी टू स्टोर, और we use a word that is called persist data over refreshes, right? And to share data between different pages of same website, right? तो अलग अलग पेजेस पे भी if you want to share some data, you can do that by using local storage. First thing first, let's try to understand this first point. How can we make or persist the data? ठीक, तो let's get back to our to do, and we have to make data persist here. ठीक, so let me open this thing. ठीक, चल। So people, I have an array. So should I set it? Set item to local storage. Set item to local storage. But ये array तो empty है. So should I set item here कि should I set item जब भी मैं append कर रहा हूँ, जब भी मैं नया डेटा डाल रहा हूँ, कब करना चाहिए? What do you guys think according to you? Should I append an empty array कि जब भी मैं update कर रहा हूँ I should append it? Okay, अच्छा, here's the suggestion. We should append the initial array plus जैसे जैसे हम लोग ऐड करते जा रहे हैं ना, we can keep the key same and we can just overwrite or update the data हर iteration पे. What do you guys think about that? हमने अभी देखा कि we can update that data, right? तो एक काम करते हैं, let's write a simple छोटा सा function for this. So let's write a function that is called basically save data. हमारा डेटा आप सेव कर दो, right? And whenever I'm calling this function, I'm basically local storage dot set item, and उसमें मैं अपना to do's भेज रहा हूँ where json dot stringify. Do I need to do json dot stringify for array? What do you people think? करना पड़ेगा, right? So I'm gonna do a json dot stringify and I'm gonna send my array. ठीक, now whenever I want to save my data, मुझे बस एक छोटा सा लाइन लिखना है which is save data. Now I can save it as many times as I want to save my data. ठीक, and first thing first, कहाँ पे सबसे पहले हमें सेव करना चाहिए डेटा? कहाँ पे सेव करना चाहिए? Once we are appending it. जैसे जैसे हम ऑब्जेक्ट अपेंड करते जा रहे हैं, should we not update our data? Update our data with me, everyone. ठीक, तो let's call our save data here. ठीक, चल, एक बार सेव डेटा हो गया, देन डोंट यू थिंक कि जब हम डिलीट कर रहे हैं तब हम ओरिजिनल एरे में से चीजें निकाल रहे हैं, फिर एक और बार हमें उसे सेव करना चाहिए, एक बार फिर से सेव करना चाहिए, है ना? विद मी और नॉट गाइस? डिलीट करने के बाद क्या हम ओरिजिनल एरे को अपडेट कर रहे हैं? आर वी अपडेटिंग द ओरिजिनल एरे? सो शुड वी वंस अगेन सेव इट, right? So I should save the data, and after saving it I can call this handle append फिर से, right? So we are saving it twice. ठीक, now let's go and see if we are keeping our data there or not. So hi, add to do. If I refresh it, the data is gone. Save करने के बाद भी. Let's go and check our local storage. What's the issue? If I click on this, are we storing the to-dos? To-do स्टोर कर रहे हैं क्या? जो भी डेटा हमने स्टोर लिखा था, आर वी स्टोरिंग इट? वी आर, बट रिफ्रेश पे तो नथिंग इज वर्किंग. व्हाई? आर वी राइटिंग एनी कोड इन हियर जो कि रिफ्रेश पे इट प्रिंट्स द ओरिजिनल डेटा, जो कि गेट करता है आइटम को एंड इट प्रिंट्स द ओरिजिनल डेटा? सेट तो कर रहे हैं, बट आर वी गेटिंग दैट डेटा पीपल? कभी भी गेम खेलते वक्त डू यू हैव टू थिंग्स, टू ऑप्शंस, सेव डेटा, सेव गेम, और जब सेव करके वापस उस गेम को फिर से ऑन करते हो तो डू यू हैव अ ऑप्शन ऑफ लोडिंग दैट गेम, राइट? राइट, तो हमने अपना सिस्टम सेव तो कर दिया बट हमने उसको लोड तो किया ही नहीं. Should we load it? Everyone with me? So let's write a function called load data, right? भैया आप मेरा डेटा लोड भी करो, whatever is there. ठीक. So I'm gonna do is I'm gonna basically let stored array or data. Let's do a local storage dot get item on it, right? And I have stored it as to dos, right? So I'm getting this stored array, right? Am I missing something? Am I missing something? I am storing it with json.stringify. Should I not convert it back? Right? Right? Should I parse it? Right? So let me parse it. JSON.parse. Right? Now I'm getting that stored data. ठीक. Now there is a chance कि ये सब कुछ नहीं है, everything is removed. And if I refresh it once again, अभी we were not saving anything in that website. So if I refresh it, do I need to like do all this parse and all? अगर कोई डेटा सेव ही नहीं था तो we have to think about that case also, right? So let's say if there is no data in here, what am I gonna get in this store data? अगर कोई डेटा ही नहीं है तो if there is no key with this name, what happens if you have a object, right? Frequency हमने बहुत बार पढ़ लिया है. And if we do obj dot hello, तो what do we get? अगर वो है ही नहीं तो ऑब्जेक्ट में undefined. Remember all those hours we have spent learning about frequency calculation, right? So if I say if stored array is not equals to undefined, अगर ये true है, or if I'm writing stored data, मतलब this thing is gonna run only when stored data is returning something. Yes, only when it's not undefined, तभी this piece of code is gonna run. Guys, yes, no, समझ आ रहा है क्या बोल रहा हूँ? ठीक है, एक और बार बोलता हूँ, फिर से बताना. If there is nothing in this application as it is for now, अभी कुछ भी नहीं है इस एप्लीकेशन में, so my stored array is gonna give me undefined, right? इतना सबको पता है. Stored array is gonna give us undefined, and this undefined is a falsy value, right? So if stored array is falsy value, will this piece of code run? No, right? But अगर ये undefined नहीं है, that means this is true. So this piece of code should run, right? तो इतना कोड लिखने के बजाय I can just write one stored array. ठीक है, and all we have to do is इस stored array को ना original array की value दे देनी. I'm gonna say array is equals to our stored array. That's pretty much all. ठीक, but एक बात बताओ, am I calling this function ever? Am I calling this function ever? कॉल नहीं कर रहे हैं. So should it take effect? ये piece of code रन करने वाला है कभी भी? No? ठीक, तो what I'm gonna do is, एक बार जब हमने सारा कोड लिख दिया, we know JavaScript works in top down approach. Finally, after all that code, I'm gonna call that function and I'm gonna call my handle append real quick, ताकि load data call करने पे this thing runs, right? Array is getting the value of stored array and finally मैं फिर से handle append data call कर रहा हूँ. तो ये क्या कर रहा है? इट्स बेसिकली रनिंग दिस फंक्शन. जो भी हमने लोकल स्टोरेज से वट एवर डेटा वी हैव स्टोर्ड इन दिस एरे, I'm gonna append all that data real quick. Clear? Technicalities समझ आ रही है? Everyone getting it? Getting it? So I'm writing this here so that this runs once whenever this entire website loads. Clear है people? Yes, no, come on, anything, कुछ भी तो बोलो. हाँ, नहीं. ठीक है, चलो. 4 लोगों में ही खुश हूँ मैं. If I refresh it, let's add to do 1. Let's add a priority high and let's add that to do. So we are adding it in here. Let's add to do 2 and add it in here. Let's add to do 3, add it in here. Take away. If I go and refresh this website, that data is still there. If I refresh it again, that data is still there. इसके बाद I can go and add to do 4. I can add a priority. I can add that to do and it's getting updated. I can refresh it once again. See? Makes sense? Everyone? Harshit, yes, that will work also. ठीक, but window अभी discuss नहीं किया. I'm meaning to discuss it, but I thought time नहीं होगा. I think we can make it actually. Clear है क्या people? How can we persist data? How can we save or store something and then reload it back? Everyone? ठीक, and was it easy? Easy था. All you have to know is these 3 lines of code कि local storage में save कैसे करते हैं and get कैसे करते हैं and a bit of technicalities which comes with experience, trust me, कि कहाँ पे कैसे कैसे लिखना. Right? So just keep in mind कि जब भी आप local storage use कर रहे हो ना, you have to keep 2 things in mind. If you are saving that data ना, you should at least load or use that data somewhere. Make sense? Make sense? तो जिस तरीके से concatenation का एक छोटा सा thumb rule दिया था ना, then इसका भी देता हूं कि if you are saving that data, trust me, you will have to use it somewhere. बस उसको दिमाग लगाना है कि where are you using it. Clear? Clear? Can I close this to do now? Everyone? कोई doubt in this to do? I mean UI, you guys can fix it. You guys can fix it. इंटरव्यूअर अगर बेसिक जेएस और एचटीएमएल का इंटरव्यू देने जा रहे हो तो ऑफ कोर्स वो पूछेंगे. अगर मर्न का इंटरव्यू देने जा रहे हो तो ट्रस्ट मी, दिस थिंग इज नॉट आस्क्ड. वो रिएक्ट पूछेंगे, वो एडवांस जेएस पूछेंगे. ठीक है, बट फिर वही बात आ जाती है कि 12th में जाके बोर्ड में ऐसे ही पास नहीं हो गए. अगर कभी आपका फर्स्ट सेकेंड केजी में एडमिशन नहीं होता, 12th पास कर लेते हैं. एबीसीडी नहीं आती तो क्या पैराग्राफ लिख लेते हैं? नहीं, राइट? तो ये हम एबीसीडी ही सीख रहे हैं. ठीक, अभी एबीसीडी सीख लिया है, अभी हम वर्ड्स बना रहे हैं एंड देन वर्ड्स के सेंटेंस बनाएंगे एंड देन सेंटेंसेस के पैराग्राफ्स लिखेंगे. ठीक. ठीक, ओ दैट्स ग्रेट, बट दिस इज अ डेवलपर इन मेकिंग. ठीक है, चलो चलो. So let's do one thing. I have a data. Can we create a product page and छोटा सा cart page quickly, even though it's gonna take 40 minutes? चलेगा क्या? Can we go for it, people? I need a yes or no from you guys. ठीक है, so just give me a second. I have JSON data stored, but I'll need to fetch it from my mail. एक second देना. Hmm, this one. All right. So let me just create one here. Ecom. Although you are gonna create full-fledged ecom websites next week, अपने construct week में, but let's do a bit छोटा सा. Chicken. And let me create a file db.json and not JSON क्योंकि we can fix this. I mean, guys, VS Code is visible, right? Everyone. Okay. So this is the data that I have. It has an ID. It has a product name. I think I picked that original data itself. Okay, कोई नहीं. I might have lost it. Let me just get it. X folder. Uh, So this is our JSON data. Let me pick few things from here itself. So let's pick eight data, right? Chicken. Back here, यहाँ पे let me just replace this data क्योंकि इसके URL are not working for some reason. Chicken. So we have this. We have an ID in it. We have titles, we have price, we have description and all. We have categories too. Okay. So chalo. Now let's just get this entire thing. So indent this data. Let's copy this and index.html. Here, let me just create a content box. So div, and this is gonna be your class name content. Right? So let's create a index.js and let's create a index.css. And HTML, let me quickly import. So I see index.js and in sheet, and this is going to be your href index.css. Taken. So now in this index.js, let me quickly access my container. So let container equals to document dot get element by ID. नहीं, query selector के साथ जाते हैं, and in here let's go for container, right? Okay. Now people, I have this data, this entire data, and we have to basically हमें क्या करना है? We have to create a div and in which I have to append these properties. I have to append the title, I have to append the price, I have to append the category and image. Shall we do it? Shall we do it? So again, you know, we are gonna create a append data function, right? And क्या करते हैं हम append data function में? I have an array. Should I do a for each on this? Should I loop over that array? Yes, no, people, anything? Right? So I have named it products. So let's get this products, and let's do a for each on it, right? So again, we're gonna get element, we're gonna get index. Chalo. Now in this, let's do one thing. First, let's create a separate div for each and every element. So how do we create element? By writing div. Take. Acha, one more small thing. Let me take it up here itself. Where was that local storage wala? Take, or rather, let's go with this क्योंकि that thing is running. ठीक है. Let's say if you're creating a div here, यहाँ पे एक div बना रहे हो, so you should have an option to give this div an ID also. right? Because this div is created from JS. So जैसे कि हम HTML में we can go and assign some class or ID to this div. Can we do that with a div created in JS for now? No, right? But हम कर सकते हैं. All you have to do is it was like div dot set attribute, right? And first thing is कौन सा attribute set करना चाह रहे हो? तो let's say I want to set an ID, right? And after this, let's say I want to give it an ID of container के अंदर का div, right? So now I'm giving this div an ID. It's like something like this. So div ऐसा है and I'm giving it an ID with the name of container के अंदर का div. ठीक, so you can basically set attribute by doing this. You can add ID, you can add class, आप src कुछ भी दे सकते हो. Yes, you can, right? So let me just show you. एक बार we have already accessed this container. So let's do one thing. I'm gonna append this div container dot append my div, right? So am I appending this div inside this container जो कि हम HTML में है? Right, we are appending it. Tick. So let's use this ID and let's give this div some style and let's see if that's happening or not. एक और काम करते हैं. Let's create one more thing. h2 equals to document dot create element and let's make this h2 color, right? So h2 dot नहीं यहाँ से नहीं लेते. Let's just append this h2 to div. So div dot append h2 and we are appending this div inside this container. So now we have a structure like this, h2 and h2 dot inner HTML equals to 0, right? So we have something like this. Yes. So if I go in my CSS and if I do hash container के अंदर का div के अंदर का h2 color it red, should I get this h2 red by doing this? Yes, so let's try to do that. Let me just comment this one out. Let's go to CSS and let's add that. So if I go back on my site, let me just refresh it. Okay, not this one, no. Index.html and then let's run the live server. So, okay, I'm not getting anything. Let me check what's the issue. This is ecom and index.html. ठीक है, class container and यहाँ पे document dot query selector we are accessing that container. So this is that container and container dot append. We're appending this div. Oh my bad. We're not running this function, right, people? We're not running that append function, है ना? So एक काम करते हैं. Let's just run it once. ठीक, हमारे पास data already है. We are not dynamically creating it. Let's just append it once. ठीक. So जितनी बार, however, data मैं नहीं have, right? So we have 8 data. I'm printing 8 hello worlds with 8 colors red. Right? तो clear है कि we are giving it a attribute, set attribute ID, and I'm giving it an attribute of this value. Clear? ठीक. Same thing goes for any attribute, right? So if you want to set attribute and let's say image के लिए आप src जा रहे हो, so you can go with that. But I find this one more easier. कि let's say if you want to src, you can just go and do like this. ठीक. So we can do that or you can do set attribute also. ठीक. यहीं पे there is one more thing. You can do like get attribute also, right? What that means is how can I explain it? Chalo, let's do one thing. Let's go here and let's create an input. And this input, let's give it a type number and इसको ID देते हैं input box, right? If I go back and let's say if I'm accessing that input box, so let input equals to document dot get get element. I'm not sure I was giving it an ID or what. ID the ID. So let's do get element by ID and uske andar input box, right? So I'm getting this input box. I'm getting that input box by writing input box with get element by ID. So if you want to check key what attribute I have given to this input box or does it has that attribute or not, you can do that. All you have to do is you have to type get attribute, right? Get attribute and inside this you'll just type key type kya hai iska, right? So we have given this a type attribute of number. So if I go and if I print this input console.log input, I should be getting that number. If I go back, I'm getting that number. Clear? And if I go and search for an attribute जो कि is not present on that tag or element, let's say I'm searching for value, so I think we get null. Okay, so we are getting null. Clear? Two more things that you guys had to know: get attribute and set attribute. Although they are, you won't be using them as much. ठीक, but although you should be aware कि what is the theory behind all this. ठीक है, तो get attribute and set attribute remember रहेगा everyone. ठीक है, undefined नहीं आएगा no, because जावास्क्रिप्ट के डेवलपर ने explicitly अपनी तरफ से null लिखवाया था उधर. ठीक है, चलो बैक टू दिस. हमें h2 नहीं चाहिए, थैंक यू. ये रिमूव करते हैं एंड बट रिमूव करेंगे तो आपके पास एग्जाम्पल नहीं रहेगा, तो इसको कमेंट करते हैं. ठीक है, लेट्स कमेंट दिस वन आउट आल्सो एंड जस्ट गिव मी अ सेकंड. ठीक है, सो वी हैव दिस div and इसके अंदर what we have to do is we have to add title, image and category and price. ठीक, so first let's add image. So we have to create an image. How can we do that? Document dot create element, right? And inside that you can just write image. Yes, and then image, what is the most important thing to an image? Is it inner text or is it the src? src. So either you can go and add it by doing set attribute, or I have much easier way and much better way of doing this. इसके अंदर just go and write element dot, यहाँ पे we are saving it inside image की, तो I'm gonna do element dot image. ठीक, so we are already appending that div to our container. Shall we append the image to div? Div dot append, shall we append the image? Yes. So if I go, you'll see input is not defined. Okay. Okay, input is not defined. Where and why? This one. HTML. Let me just remove this also. Okay, so we have those images, right? Can you guys see this? Images दिख रहे हैं हमें web page पे, but they are too big for us for now. ठीक, so let's go and give it a bit structure. फिर we will fix the CSS. So when we're at it, let's add the title and all. So document dot create element and इसके अंदर we are having title. So create element, let's say h3 में लिख रहे हैं, और rather h3 नहीं, let's go with p only. And यहाँ पे title dot inner, shall we go with text or HTML? Let's go with HTML. Let me show you something. With HTML, no, you can do some nice stuff. So let's say you can go with bold, right? Bold के अंदर you can mention product name and then give it a space. And remember what was this called? What was this called? and nahi @ what was this called? भूल गए? नहीं, this entire setup template literals, right? ठीक, तो we are making this thing dynamic. हम क्या कर रहे हैं, हम inner HTML यूज कर रहे हैं, तो now we can add HTML also. So we are doing it. हम product name को bold रख रहे हैं, and the next thing is in normal. Now let's have our what do we have else? Category. So let's add category. Let category is equals to document dot create element, and in this let's again add p, and category dot inner HTML is equals to, let's copy this, just paste it, and category, and this is dot category. So category, and then finally let's have price. So price is equals to document dot create element, and we are gonna again create that. Then again this entire thing is gonna happen. So let me just copy it, paste it, price, tick, and this thing is gonna be your price, and this thing is gonna be your price. ठीक है, inner HTML manipulate tags also. Yes, that was the difference between inner HTML and inner text, है ना? So if I go back, I'm gonna get that neat little structure. Okay, why am I not getting title and all? Can you guys look at this code and tell me? मुझे title, category, price क्यों नहीं मिल रहा है in my HTML? I haven't appended it, right? So let me just write a few commas and let me just quickly append them. So let's append image तो हो गया. Let's append title, let's append category, and let's append price. अभी वापस जाएंगे. We have this, we have product name in nice way, category and price. ठीक. Let's add this so that like the division is a bit more clear. ठीक, and now let's fix the CSS. ठीक, हमने DOM पे अपना डेटा दिखा दिया. Let's fix the CSS. So we know कि we have this parent box container. Inside that we have a div, right? So why did I say कि you are not gonna need this much more? Because I have taught you guys how can you create relations, right? So all we have to do is we have to access again I forgot class है. So I'm gonna access my dot container, and उसके अंदर इसके अंदर I'm just creating divs, right? I'm creating multiple divs and I'm appending them. Yes, so I'm gonna do this. Will I be accessing these divs? ये divs access करूंगा by doing that, right? For now I don't want to deal with it. हम क्या करते हैं, let's add the container and let's add display grid. Remember grid सीखा था? Now is the time we use it. Then let's say grid template columns, and I want columns of three product. How can I do that? Repeat, 3, 1 fraction, right? Let's give this container a width. Let's say I'm giving it a width of 60%. Width दे दिया, तो can I center it? Can I center that grid? Right? Easy है. Margin auto लिख दो. Margin auto लिख दो. Right? And we have this thing also. ठीक है? Let's give it a gap of 20 pixel. All right. And the image were much bigger, तो let's access container, उसके अंदर div and उसके अंदर का image, and let's give that image some width. Let's give it a width of 60%, whatever this one fraction is, उसका 60%. Let's give it some height, let's say 40%, and let's do one thing. Dot container के अंदर div के अंदर just align everything in center. Right, let's go. So yeah, we have somewhat fixed our CSS, right? Looks fine. right? And how quickly did we created it? है ना? ठीक है, ठीक है. So now in HTML we can create multiple pages website, right? जैसे फ्लिपकार्ट पे जाओगे तो you can go to different pages. Let's say this is my product page, so I want to go to my cart page. We should be able to go to that, right? How can you do that? Let's say I have a cart.html, right? And let me just get this. इसके अंदर I have a h2 and which says cart page. Let me just fix a bit CSS, छोटा सा style and body के अंदर जो कुछ है उसका text align कर दो center. That's all. ठीक. So I have this file, right? So let's say I have a button in here जो कि बोलता है button which says go to cart page. Cart page पे जाओ, right? And I'm giving this button a class of body के अंदर का button, right? Now let's go and access this button. So let cart button equals to document dot query selector, and again I forgot क्या नाम दिया था मैंने उसको, body button, and it's a class. So dot body button. Shall I add an event listener to it? When I click this button, right? एक छोटा सा चीज होता है यहाँ पे, जैसे we have our document object, right? Document object from where we access add element, add event listener, query selector and all. Document object, ठीक? तो this document is basically it's a global object, right? Document is a global object. I can access it anywhere. उसी तरीके से we have one more object which is called window object. ठीक? So document basically refers to whatever HTML we have, and this window object refers to this web page that we are accessing. ठीक है? So यहाँ पे हम एक छोटा सा कोड लिखेंगे, window dot location dot href. मतलब I'm telling my browser to locate to a certain href which I'm giving it shortly. And what's the href? It's basically cart.html. ठीक? So whenever I'm clicking on this function, I'm gonna run this function, and this function holds a small okay, I missed the href. It has a small piece of code which says कि please relocate yourself to cart.html. Shall we go and click on that button? Click करके देखें क्या होता है? If I'm clicking on it, am I visiting cart page? Visiting cart page? Right? Click हो रहा है कि how people create multiple pages website now. Is it clear? If I click on this, I'm getting two cart page. ठीक है? And was it easy? I mean, कुछ भी मुश्किल था उसमें? You have to just write one piece of code, one small piece of code which says windows.location.href. ठीक है? Any doubts still here? Please guys, please let me know if you guys have any doubts. ठीक? हाँ, when you are learning it initially it looks a bit tedious, but एक बार समझ आ जाता है ना, then it's quite easy. ठीक है? So just think about it. If we can create this much in like half an hour, we have done this in last half an hour. In next week, you're gonna get an entire week of construct week. जिसमें you have 1 week, right? So if you are able to explore everything, you will be able to create nice little websites. ठीक है? So should I have an option? Guys, I'll take 10 to 15 minutes more. Will it be fine? ठीक, I'll just show you कि how you can add products to cart page. चलेगा सबको? सबको? ठीक? तो if I click on this shirt, I should be able to add just this shirt to my cart page, right? right? So do we know how can we add buttons? Easy था, याद है? We have done in to do, right? That to do, no, if you are able to at least एक बार उसको ध्यान से वैसे कर लोगे ना, you will be able to create half of the websites. Take that to do, it was reasonably taken that much time, जितना time लगा ना उसमें, it was reasonable. ठीक है, so let's create a button. Let cart, okay, I think I have named something else cart button. इसको भी cart button name कर दिया. Okay, never mind. So let's name it add to cart button, right? And let's create document dot create create element, and let's create a button, and add to cart button के अंदर inner text let's add something. So basically add to cart, right? And let's add add event listener to it कि जब भी आपको हम लोग click करेंगे, you must be running a function which is called handle cart handle add to cart. ठीक है? And let's do one thing. Let's send this entire element inside this function. ठीक है? And we can go and access that element dot id करके सब कुछ. Yes. So let's create a function handle add to cart, और इसके अंदर let's get let's say product. Let's call it product. And यहाँ पे if I do console.log product, let me show you what am I getting. So let me just refresh it. Okay, append नहीं किया होगा. Let's go and quickly append it. So add to cart button, and yeah, let's inspect and let's click on console, right? So if I go here and if I click on add to cart, am I just accessing this wala shirt or whatever it is, jacket, right? If I'm clicking on it, am I accessing this thing, right? So we are able to access the object. Do you guys remember I told you there was a tool by which we can share some things in other pages also, if that belongs to same website? It belongs to a same website. What was it? क्या था? Everyone, come on guys, सब बताओ क्या बोलते थे उसको हम लोग? Local storage to share data between different pages of same website. Yes. So is it time for sharing data between product page and cart page? है ना? So let's set this product to cart page. So let's do one thing. ठीक है, tell me one thing, is the product always gonna be one कि हम लोग multiple product add कर सकते हैं cart page पे? Am I just gonna add one product or multiple product? So will it make sense to create an array और उसके अंदर will be keep on pushing the new product जो भी हम लोग add कर रहे हैं? Will it make sense? Will it make sense? Right? So यहाँ पे where is that to do? Index.js. Yeah. So remember एक बार हम सेव कर रहे थे and after saving when we were first accessing it we were checking if that data is present in it or not. Remember, so we know कि something like that happens, so why not let's deal with it first itself. Load से पहले ही deal कर ले. So let's say let cart equals to json dot parse, and हम क्या parse कर रहे हैं? We're basically parsing local storage dot get item. Do you have anything named cart? ठीक है, if you don't have anything named cart, अगर ये चीज undefined आ रही है, क्या करो? Just give me an empty array. ठीक, तो either this thing is gonna be true or this is gonna be true, right? If this comes out to be undefined, एक cart को ना इसकी value मिल जाएगी empty array की, right? And if this is true, then you will be assigning this a value. ठीक, have we done this ever? ये वाला तरीका सिखाया क्या मैंने? नहीं सिखाया, राइट? सो इट्स बिट ऑफ अ पार्ट ऑफ योर EA6 मॉड्यूल। छोटी सी चीज एक स्लिप हो गई, ऑल्दो इट्स इजी, राइट? इजी है, राइट? वी आर नॉट सपोज टू डू दैट। कोई नहीं, चलेगा। क्लियर है, नॉट वेरी हार्ड। इफ दिस कंडीशन इज ट्रू देन इसकी वैल्यू असाइन हो जाएगी, एल्स इसकी होगी। इजी है ना? ठीक, चलो चलो। सो is there anything in our application local storage में which says cart? Do we have anything which says cart? No. No. So should we assign an empty array का value to this cart? Right? So that's gonna happen, right? And now what I'm gonna do is, again dealing with that, let's say I'm creating a let's call it existing items, right, equals to cart dot filter. I'm just checking ki if that item is present in that cart or not. ठीक, so I'm doing existing item cart dot filter, and इसके अंदर I'm just checking item is equals to item dot id, and if this is equals to product dot id. ठीक है, again for now I'm assuming कि I have some data in it which we are gonna have shortly. ठीक है, and if we do have that data, मैं क्या करूंगा, I'll filter that out by using product dot id, जो कि हमने प्रोडक्ट यहाँ पे लिया। Clear? Okay, so let me fix this. Again, I went a bit, मैं जल्दी में हूँ, that's why I'm writing like that. Let's go with this way only. So let's name it that, and यहाँ पे I'm gonna assign item dot id is equals to product dot id. ठीक, let me write out. ठीक है, again that was EA6, right? That's much more easier way of writing these things. So ठीक है, not an issue. Clear? So basically we're trying to access the existing item जो भी that was present in that local storage, and we're trying to search ki if that thing is present or not, right? If in case we are just visiting it very first time, if that does not exist, हम क्या करेंगे? If existing items is items dot length, right? Items dot length. So let's say guys, please switch off your camera. ठीक है, so if that existing item का length let's say it's greater than 0, right? Please people keep yourself on mute. ठीक है, so if anything is present inside this array जो कि इस प्रोडक्ट से मिलता जुलता है, what am I gonna do is I'm gonna basically access that item and I'm gonna increase its value, right? So quantity plus कर लूँगा, else what am I gonna do is I'm gonna basically push it to the cart dot push, and let's say I'm gonna just push id, so product dot id. I'm gonna push title, so इसके अंदर आ जाएगा product dot title, and I want to push quantity 1. ठीक, I'm just doing that frequency thing, right? If that item is present, then I'm just gonna do a plus of that value, else उस value को I'm gonna set as 1. Remember that frequency thing, people? Yes, right? And if when we are done with this, all I can do is I can just local storage dot set item. I'm gonna set it with cart and json dot stringify, and उसके अंदर I'm just gonna send my cart. ठीक है, so we can send a alert also, so I can alert that at the rate product dot title is added to the cart. Okay, so let's go back. Now, if I go back, no, if I click on this, so okay, okay, I'm adding this casual, this thing is added to cart and I'm getting it in my cart. Yes, what's the quantity? It's 1 because we are adding it very first time. Take, मान लो, if I click on this, should I add this object once again or should I just increase the quantity? Increase the quantity. So that's what we were doing here. We were checking if that item is present in that like in that cart array or not. So if it is present in that cart array, this existing item ka array, its length is gonna be greater than 0. So we're gonna enter this and we're gonna increase the quantity. Take, so if I go back and if I again click on this, no, you'll see कि rather than adding one more object, हम क्या कर रहे हैं? We're just increasing the quantity. If I click on add to cart once again, I'm just gonna go and increase the quantity. Right? Let's say I wanna add this jacket. Now this is not present inside this local storage. So you're gonna add this and keep the quantity as 1. Here again, you can go and just update the quantity. All right. Now, if I go on cart page, I'm still able to access this, right? So if I go on cart page and let's say I'm writing script and इसके अंदर let data equals to json dot parse and then local storage dot get item and उसके अंदर cart. So if I console dot log this data, if I go back and let me just close this. Inspect. If I open cart page का console, no, you'll see I have that array with whatever data जो कि मैंने store किया. Right now, you guys already know how you can map over this data and show it in cart page. Yes, can we do that at least? Everyone? Right, so this is how you create a multiple pages e-com websites. Okay, again I have just created 2 pages because of lack of time, but okay, that's fine. I've given you a gist कि कैसे कैसे करना है, right? So initially you're gonna land your user onto a sign up page. You're gonna do a sign up. You'll know how you can accept a form, input लोगे, you'll check if that input is present. Yes, login करो, send him to the dashboard. डैशबोर्ड से just help user to add something in cart, उनको cart page पे भेजो. Now you should show a good UI here, right? And then just send them to your payment page. ठीक है? Can we at least try this, people? Yes. So जितना भी हमने बनाया, we created 2 pages. Was that clear? Right? And now DOM is feeling a bit easy now. Yes. Yes, ठीक है. And once you get a hang of it, no, there is not much things to think about, right? Just इतना सोचना है कि कहाँ place करना है. Else you'll see कि all we have to do is access those elements. We already know कि we can use 2 things, query selector and query selector all for most of the things. Then you should know कि how you can create element. We already know document dot create element. You should know how can we append them. So whatever you want to append it to, dot append, and jitna bhi append karna hai, just go and append it. Let's say if you want to set an attribute to it, we'll have to write set attribute. You want to get an attribute, just write get attribute, and that's all. That's all. Then you know higher order functions, right? So you can just for each, append them, and there you go. Easy, right? Easy. Take. Acha, there is few more features that I mean you guys can create it once you are like in your construct week. So you'll have 1 week of time. I'm just giving you guys some goals which you can follow, right? So let's say we go in our to do, right? To do mein in this index.js, You saw कि we were able to delete something by doing filter, right? Let's say in this to do, I want to apply one more filter. यहाँ पे let's say I had a button which says sort by high. So I only want elements with priority high. Can I do that? Can I run a quick filter on it and I can check, let's say I want to do sorting. So I can run a filter on it and I can check return if let's say element dot status is equals to high. तो वो सारा collect that all data and paste it in your array, right? Update your array with that and then run a append data वाला function on it, right? Can do that or not, है ना? So these are few things that you guys can add. All right, guys, anything, any doubt in anything that we have covered so far? No? ठीक है. So